snippets last week. I thought this is pretty cool. That's me. I do all that stuff. I know all that stuff. I know people. So that's kind of cool. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that outro too. So I don't know what that is, but it sounds kind of cool. I'm Tom Diller. Thank you for joining us. We have a couple special guests tonight, but before we get started with that, I want to remind you about an event that we're having this Thursday, September 20th from 5 to 8. Arizona Academy of Real Estate is opening a brand new campus in Mesa. We're going to have the Mesa Chamber of Commerce out there. We're going to have live music with Jordy, and we kind of had her on the studio, a couple months ago, and her mom
awesome
is Melanie Safka.
I mean, if for no other reason, that would be a reason to go to see Jordy.
And
so
her mom,
what a bonus.
Yeah, and I guess your daughter made her mom a little purse out of duct tape, which was kind of cool.
Before we even knew Jordy.
Right.
That was a real coincidence.
So if you don't know who Melanie is, Jordy's mom, she's the gal who sang Brand New Key.
Right.
And she also sang at Woodstock. So her daughter lives right here in Scottsdale, and we have her as our live entertainment. Tons of food, lots of business owners, executives, realtors, investors, all sorts of people. Joe, you and Marie going to show up, maybe, possibly?
Looking forward to it.
I saw Stacy Dupree-Perper, who's a big-time Santonian, or Santan Valian, or Santanian.
She has expanded now to, I would say,
Maricopian?
I would say valley-wide, because she just opened offices here, like in Wisconsin and California.
Nice.
All this week.
Nice.
How'd you open 10 states up this week?
She's pretty cool. So she has marked on Facebook that she's going to be there. Whether that's true or not, we'll see. So Stacy, hopefully you do join us. But anyways, come on by. It's free. Come by, introduce yourself. If you're a small business owner, even if you're not connected in the real estate world, come on by to say hi. I know there's going to be some financial planners and realtors there, and lenders, bankers. Chase Bank is one of our big corporate sponsors at the event. Valley Connections is another sponsor, so we have tons of great folks at the event. So again, that's this Thursday, the 20th, Arizona Academy of Real Estate in Mesa. If you want the address, look at my Facebook or contact Joe here at the studio. And before we forget, because we do this sometimes, we forget about the phone number, 480-745-1033, 480-745-1033. I know you're going to want to call in, and these guests, I tell you, I've been very excited for the last couple weeks about our guest tonight. And to my left is Nick Jones, who is from Tucson, but you were here already in Phoenix, so you didn't drive up all the way from Tucson, so thank you for coming out here. Nick is the CEO and co-founder of Old Pueblo Community Services, and we'll talk about that in 1 second, but welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Old Pueblo Mexican food restaurant in Florence.
Which rocks, actually.
That's correct.
Chimichangas there are great. That's the place with the
We went to L&B's.
Yeah?
But Old Pueblo is also very good.
Yeah, they both kind of rock. And then we have Charles Anderson, who is here locally, who runs a Better Today Recovery Services. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks,
John. And I was introduced by you by Jennifer, who's sitting in the back, who didn't want to be on air, but she's waving.
Yay.
So if we get a camera on her without her noticing,
all right, we're gonna work on that without her noticing. So we don't want to say anything yet.
High def shots of her because she asked for that.
We'll pick up a lot of viewers then.
She's playing coy right now, but she said, if you can, get me on air just a couple of times.
Perfect.
She promised her family she was going to be on air, so we'll make her dreams come true.
We won't tell you when.
We'll make her dreams come true. Nick, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about what you do. And I was excited because of the veteran part, that you help veterans, among other folks that may be displaced, homeless, had some problems, and they're out there looking for help. So tell us about your business, what you do, and kind of how you got involved with that.
Well, we are basically, we serve two kind of clients in Tucson. We do housing and behavioral health services. We help homeless veterans, and we help people coming out of prison, men and women coming out of prison. How I started this organization is, first of all, I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Good for you.
And I was homeless when I got out of Vietnam.
Not good for you, but thank you for telling us that.
And I was in prison 8 months after I got out of Vietnam. So
not good for you.
Not good for me. But, however, everything happens for a reason, and a result of my path in life is how I had the passion to want to help men and women coming out of prison. What I realized when I went to prison after Vietnam, I realized I saw a lot of Vietnam veterans in prison. I couldn't believe how many Vietnam veterans were in prison. And my goal today is hope that our Iraq, Afghanistan veterans don't end up in prison and on the streets and homeless. and get the services that they deserve.
Right, right. Now, are there government agencies that already provide these types of services, or is there a major gap in there that you fill, that you take care of for these gentlemen and females, obviously?
Right. Well, the gap that we fill is the VA provides hospital services and clinical services. They don't have a whole lot of housing services. So they depend on agencies like mine, here and in Maricopa, and in Pima, to provide the services to help the veterans get off the street, get off drugs and alcohol, and get jobs and get back in the mainstream.
Right. Well, I can tell you, before you even get further into it, what a tremendous service that you provide. I mean, that's just amazing that you're doing that, especially with your past, that you fell into that and you've completely turned that around. You're helping other people. So kudos to you. How does a veteran find you? How do they know that's there? Are the people from the VA telling them that the services are out there, or do you go out and search for these folks to help them? I mean, how does that work?
Both ways. We get referrals from the VA, and also we have an outreach program where we have people that are out there in the bushes and doing in-reach in a lot of different agencies trying to identify veterans. We also just got approved to take veterans right out of prison into VA programs. And that's unique because in the old days, they had to get out, they had to struggle for a while before they hooked up with the VA. Now we can take them right in from prison and help them get started directly into VA programs, which is really exciting.
Now, why are some of these servicemen and women ending up in prison right after they're out? Is it just the transition back into, I guess, the real world or whatever, or coming out of combat that traumatized, or?
Well, you have a lot of PTSD going on.
Sure,
but
sure.
Also you have a lot of veterans that come back wounded or that are been hospitalized and on pain medications, and you know, when they get done with the doctors, they have they have the habit of the narcotic addiction, and they end up on the streets and they end up upside down. And also the big dilemma today is we have veterans that not too long ago were working on multi-million-dollar equipment are now rolling tacos at Taco Bell for 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, when I came back from Vietnam, we had jobs, but you know, our veterans are coming back in a recession. They can't get work.
Right, right.
Sad.
Right, it is. Do you have any kind of stats of how many veterans come back and do not get jobs immediately or stay off the job market for X amount of time? You hear about it quite a bit on the news, so that, to me, the news always seems to be about 6 months behind. So if they're saying it's big, it must be huge.
Well, the interesting thing is, you know, it depends who you listen to on any given day.
Sure.
What's really happening is the veterans that are coming back, the ones that have good family support, one of the things that the veterans are dealing with is, first of all, divorce, domestic violence, and suicide. You have, believe it or not, more veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan have committed suicide than have been killed in the war itself. And one veteran every 80 minutes commits suicide in the United States. So there's all kinds of issues that go on with veterans.
Yeah, that's certainly staggering statistics there. So once they find you, what is the intake process like? What are you doing for these folks that the VA couldn't do or didn't do or not responsible to do, I guess?
Well, one of the things that we're the largest community provider in Tucson for veteran services. We have 9 different contracts, you know, dealing with everything from chronically mentally ill veterans to veterans that are drunk on the streets, veterans that are homeless due to eviction, separation from family, boy, just about anything you can think of.
Right.
They're dealing with right now.
Okay. Right.
And more veterans are coming home than ever before. So we're gonna. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right. Charles, go ahead and jump in.
I mean, Tom, one of the things that surprised me the most, I was down there visiting. Down there in Tucson visiting about 2 months ago, was the amount of homeless veterans that weren't addicted to drugs or addicted to alcohol, but because of the economy they became homeless, you know, and they do things like rapid housing and everything else. It's amazing programs that he does down there.
Right.
And that really shocked me, you know, because when I always think of a homeless veteran, I'm thinking of some guy who's been strung out on alcohol or drugs,
right,
being homeless. we're talking about people who lost their jobs and were evicted.
Right. Right.
Needing housing and stuff.
Yeah, and that seems just a tremendous shame to even think about that. My dad's a Vietnam vet too, a couple tours in Vietnam, so I could just. And you're right. When he got out, I guess there were plenty of jobs, or whatever, because he's never really had a problem or anything. So it is a shame just to hear that that's news. That this is, one every 80 seconds,
80 minutes.
80 minutes. Yeah, that's horrible. So once you take them in, at that point, they're in your facility, and then so say they're not strung out or whatever. They're there because they lost their job. They have no family support or whatever. So at that point, do you train them in another field, or how do you get them back to where they're working and making a meaningful living for themselves?
Well, first of all, we assess them on what their needs are. We do get veterans that come from the detox from the VA hospital. We do get veterans that come from the streets that are intoxicated, brought in by the police. We get, like Charles was talking about, we get veterans that maybe had a domestic violence situation and they can't go home, so they don't have a place to go. Or they're not working and they got evicted. So we assess each veteran and offender that comes out of prison. We assess them on what their needs are, what their goals are, and we help them navigate to what their goals are. My philosophy has always been that we don't case manage people and tell them what we want to do. We say, where do you want to go, and how can we help you get there? Right.
You know what? We're getting a couple calls already, which is wonderful. So Joe rings his little bell, which tells me to look at him and be quiet, and we'll
just whenever you're ready.
There you go. Whenever we're ready.
Whenever.
We're ready.
Not to interrupt.
There you go.
Betsy from Yuma just called in. Her brother just got out of the military, is having some major problems, and he's now homeless because of a lot of issues that she would need to talk to you guys about. Wants to know how can she get in touch with your organization?
Was that Becky?
That would be Betsy from Yuma.
Betsy, thank you for the phone call. You want to
Sure.
give out your information on how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, Betsy, I know there's not a lot of services in Yuma. Have your brother call 546-0122 and ask for Tessa, your intake coordinator, and she will give you a lot of information about what veterans program we have. And he can fill out an app with us, and we could ship it to the VA and see if the VA wants to refer them to certain programs, and if not, we can refer them to our own veterans programs.
One more time on the phone number, is that 520?
520-546-0122.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the phone call there. Let's throw out the phone number one more time, 480-745-1033. Please call in with questions. You have family members or friends, or perhaps you've seen some homeless folks that you think are veterans, or regardless if they're veterans or not.
That's right.
So anybody you need that you think may need some assistance. So you've taken them in, and you're working with them. And you said case load, or I don't remember the exact word you used, but are you having veterans assigned to you that are coming out of prison, or
Yes.
that's kind of what I got out of that? So you're
correct. So we have the VA has a reentry specialist that works inside the Arizona Department of Corrections, and her job is to go around and try and get people benefits, and she talks about us, and she will refer people to us, and we will take them right out of prison, roll them right into a grant per diem program, which is what we're able to do right from prison. That's never been done before, but the VA sees the need, and yeah.
So are you funded by the government then, or private donations, or how do you survive?
Okay, well, we're funded by, we have contracts with the Veterans Administration. We have grants from SAMHSA, Department of Justice, HUD. We have Department of Education. We have a number of grant sources. And also we depend on donations from the community. So, and that's kind of how we survive.
Well, outstanding. There goes the phones again. So thank you for all the people watching us and listening in on it on the KQCK Live today. Charles, let's jump in. So
Sure.
Let's talk to you a little bit. Well, your services are here locally.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing this for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between the two services? I know you're more alcohol and drug dependent folks that you take care of. That it's inpatient.
We do basically like a residential-based program. We are a private pay. We take private insurance and private pay. So we're a little bit different. We don't do any grants, or we're not doing any state or federal funding.
So these are folks that are checking themselves into that need help. They realize that there's an issue, either them or a family member's checking them in?
Correct. Right. And we deal with a lot of the private insurances. We take just about every private insurance out there and a cash pay. And our niche is that we really try to make a high-quality program and in the treatment world at a very low cost. We try to create an incredibly healthy environment for them to heal and to change. And we do that in a great environment.
Right, right. So is this like a house or a big facility, like a hotel that you have these folks in?
We actually do it. Our model is what we call a Florida model. So what happens is that we house them in homes, and the homes are located up in Scottsdale, and then we do the treatments actually done out of our facility. So we have a facility up there in Scottsdale where we actually do treatment. And
so are these private residents, these homes that
they're private residents. They're beautiful homes.
Wow.
They're staying in some beautiful homes in pretty good neighborhoods. And
not pretty good, Charles.
Really good.
Nice neighborhoods.
Really nice.
Yeah, they're in nice neighborhoods. And, that's the big thing about recovery. It's the same thing. I mean, if you go down and check out Nick's properties and stuff, they're beautiful. They're well-maintained. They're gorgeous. He actually, on one of his properties for offenders, not vets, but for people coming out of prison, he actually got a community award, the neighborhood award for the best residence. Which was really something. I mean, that's the thing, is we always try to become the best neighbor in the neighborhood and stuff. And it's always funny because there's a lot of stigmatism behind drug addiction treatment. People don't want those addicts living down the street.
Right, that it's dirty, it's messy, these guys are going to break into my car.
Oh,
but it's not the case. These are white-collar, sometimes, folks that just fall into hard times, right?
These clients are your moms, your dads, your sisters, your brothers, your lovers, whatever it is.
Right.
They're just people,
Right.
And the big thing is that they're clean.
Right.
For the most part, they're always clean and sober. They're drug tested and stuff. So these neighbors that the people concerned about are actually clean.
Right. Now, you talked about all the different family members there. What are you seeing? Is there an influx of a certain type of individual, a certain class of individual coming in? Has it changed throughout the years? What's different now?
I got to tell you, the big shocker for me was I had a treatment center that I owned in California, and I moved out here about 3 years ago and opened up a Better Today. And coming from California to here, we were shocked at the opiate abuse in Arizona. I mean, it is
I've never heard of that.
Off the charts.
Never heard of that.
God. I mean, with kids. And the rule of thumb in our treatment centers, if they're under 30 years old, they're strung out on opiates. And if they're over 30, they're alcoholics. And when I get a speed addict, I'm like, wow. Because you just don't see it that much anymore. The opiate addiction is just rampant. I mean, it's really, really rampant.
In Tucson, it's the same thing. It's like the kids, in high school, they exchange Vicodin, and then they go to Percocet, and then they go to Oxycontin.
Right.
And it gets so expensive that next thing you know, they're on the heroin, which is really high quality and very cheap. We're seeing 18 to 24-year-olds more addicted to heroin than any other time.
Wow.
It is. It's a epidemic, and it's made a huge surge, and there's a million reasons why. And
I just saw a show on this opiate abuse problem in Florida. I guess is tremendous.
Yeah,
it's huge.
They drive from all over the country to go to Florida, take like 3-day road trips to go and pick up,
Oxycontin,
600 Percocet or Oxycontins or whatever they are. So
it's too easy. Another call there, Joe?
We do. We had Bert Thomas from Salem, Massachusetts. How do I make a donation, and do you help nationwide, or is it you just reach out to Arizona?
Oh, we do nationwide. Our website is www.helptucson.org. That's HELPTUCSON.org. You can actually donate right from our website, and we appreciate all the donations we can get.
Wow, thank you. That's a wonderful call to get a call for a donation. So this is great. So the reach of internet radio is just amazing. I don't know if you guys were aware of that, but it's a big reach. So we're glad for all their listeners. So that's wonderful. And the phones are actually ringing double there. So
it was interesting because we're talking about the opiate abuse. When I was down in Tucson touring the facility, one of the things that Nick touched on is that you get an injured vet who's injured, gets a leg blown off or something. They get injured. And what they do for them is they give them pain medication.
Right.
And the problem is that they don't have a very good system for getting them off the pain medication. So then if they start abusing the pain medication, the way the most seems like the military, and I may be wrong, deals with that is they kick you out. So if you get caught abusing pain medication, They kick you out.
Yeah, that
So now
just
you're a
seems
homeless
counterproductive
vet.
there. No kidding. With
know,
with
strung
a
out on
dependency on
opiates.
on drugs, that's just not cool. Especially the folks that save our borders and our country and fight for us every single day. It's just sad. It's just really sad to see that.
Well, it's interesting. Half of our staff that are veterans, because we hire a lot of veterans to help veterans, and that's their story. They were wounded. They got on pain meds, and next thing you know, it's out of control. They can't get any more. They're on the street using street drugs, and they come to us homeless.
All right. Let's talk about this is a good segue. Let's talk about the house. Well, we got another call, so let's jump in there first.
Jesse Anderson, 28, out of Tucson. He says, do you help us get off the opiates, and is there a charge? I'm married. I have PTSD, and I can't function on the opiates. I need help. What does Jesse do?
We have a program called Empower, and it's a SAMHSA grant. And I wrote that grant for the main purpose of serving vets that did not want to go to the VA hospital for whatever reason, whether they had fear of letting anybody know that they had the problem. But no, we have programs in-house that help vets do that. That's a big problem.
So it's confidential. So that's a good point. So if they go to the VA hospital, it's written down on some paper. It's in there. It's on the computers that they have an issue. Mm-hmm. They go to you, not the case?
They go to me, not the case. And that's why I wrote this grant this way, is to give the veterans an alternative of not having to go to the VA.
Right.
And maybe not having to wait in so many lines.
Right. Jesse, perfect. Why don't you give Nick a call? Nick, your phone number one more time?
546-0122. Extension 205.
And that's area code 520.
And they can talk to me directly.
So, Jesse, thank you so much. Take care of yourself and your family, but we appreciate you listening in and calling. Let's get back to, you talked about the houses being very high-end and nice. So when a veteran goes through your program and they're ready to buy, are you helping them with the loans, the grants, or mm-hmm. is there money for that? I know there's a lot of down payment assistance, DPA money out there.
Right.
Talk about that.
Okay, well, we're a HUD certified housing agency, and one of the things that we do is we people that want to buy a new house, whether it's one of our houses that we built or whether it's a house in the community, we have up to $35,000 in grant money to give every low-income home buyer. And how that works, basically how it comes out all said and done, after they do their housing counseling, we help rebuild credit. We also do foreclosure assistance too.
Sure,
on the side,
sure.
Reverse mortgages. So what we do is we help people we saved 300 homes last year for people that were in foreclosure. But as far as the first-time home buyer goes, we get people in new houses at a cost that they would spend for an apartment.
Right. So those that don't understand how the grants work, a lot of those are pretty much no pay. They're silent seconds. So just as long as they don't sell the home, sometimes 3 to 5 years or whatever, it disappears. It's gone.
Right.
So there's no payment on it or anything. So
well, here's the deal. We have 2 full-time foreclosure specialists.
Uh-huh.
They are ex-bankers. They've been in the banking business, each of them.
They know what they're doing.
They know how to talk to the banks. And that's the key, is to know how to talk to the banks.
Right, get it written up properly the first time. Got another call here.
We are going to call this gentleman Jack. Jack is a police officer from Phoenix. So obviously, that's not his real name. He's a former MP. He's addicted in the closet to opiates all the way up to morphine from some injuries that he had, I guess, in the military. Is there a place for him in your programs and still being able to keep it totally to where his job does not find out?
That probably works out perfect because he's here in Phoenix or somewhere local.
He's in
for
Phoenix.
him to go down a little further away to get away from people that may know him. Do you experience that where folks travel to get to you just for that fact that they want to keep it secret, or you care? You probably don't care, right?
We have people come in from all over the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be something, obviously, you would take care of. You would welcome into your...
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. We would actually, for someone who's coming that is strung out on narcotics, we would require them to detox, which is to do a medical detox, which we do not do. But anybody who wants to recover from narcotic addiction.
Sure.
He said he is a working opiate addict.
So now that's Charles. Is that in your kind of
It
belly
kind of
whack?
finds in where we are. I mean,
Right,
that's-
right.
The thing about the working
Yeah.
people that are on alcohol or on opiates or drugs and stuff is that when they turn themselves into us, when they not turn themselves in, but when they come in for treatment, a lot of times it's a medical leave. So when they deal with their employer on this deal, this is a private issue. This is HIPAA all over the place. I mean,
Right,
this
right,
is private.
right.
This isn't something.
So
that-
there's nothing that can go out there and be
Right.
reported back on the insurance.
And that's also part of the reason why our cash price is such an affordable price.
Right.
Okay, for us, because a lot of people, I get people who have great insurance come in and want to pay cash because they really don't want.
Do they
anybody
not
knowing.
understand the HIPAA laws, or they don't trust
you know,
it,
it's
or
not that they don't trust insurance companies.
Gotcha.
They don't trust the information done by insurance companies, which
Right.
I understand.
Right.
But for a lot of people, the the affordability for us is what makes it such a great program.
Right,
And we
right.
do help with the.
Well, this
the
person that
medication
just called in
withdrawals.
is an ideal candidate for Charles.
So they would go to
Excellent.
Charles and transition down to you. Is that how it works?
No,
So that's-
no. I would say this guy has a problem with narcotic addiction.
So he's working, so he doesn't need the. Okay, gotcha.
No,
so
I mean,
that's
what's
so he'll-
interesting is in our history, about 3 to 5% of our population is law enforcement and firemen. You know, it's those
Stressful.
two-
Yeah.
Well, it's not that. These guys are in positions where they get hurt a lot. So if a cop gets hurt, guess what they
Yeah,
give? 'em?
Right,
They
right,
give them Vicodin.
right.
There's
right,
not a doctor that won't write the prescription.
Right.
You
So
know?
how you talked about putting them in private homes or whatever? Is it kind of like the drug test where you write a fake name or a number on there? I mean, how are these
No,
gentlemen?
no, it's all confidential with us. You know, we do total confidentiality.
I understand.
with us,
So
you know.
he goes in there as a John Doe, or he goes in.
He can, it depends. If he's doing insurance, obviously he's going to have to use his name.
Sure,
as insurance.
sure.
If he's paying cash, we it's his choice what he wants to be called.
Right.
We do have our records that we do have to keep.
Right.
But those are our confidential records.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
You
You need to throw out your phone number and your website so folks can get a hold of you.
Our phone number here is 1-800-805-6119. And our website is www.abtrs.com, or if you're military, it's Alpha Bravo Tango Romeo Sierra.com.
That sounded kind of cool. Well, we got
So-
another call. In fact, we got a couple more calls there.
Penny Larson out of Louisville, Kentucky would like to know what part, she'd like to make a donation. She wants to know what part of the donation goes directly to helping the vets and addicts.
Outstanding question.
Okay. When she makes her donation, she can call in and specify that she wants her donation directly to Veteran Services. And we will honor that, of course. Our website does not allow us to, our regular write-in donations, we have cards that say, you want to go to families, individuals, veterans. But if she was to put the donation in and call me directly, I will make sure that donation goes directly to Veteran Services, and which is 2/3 of everything that we do anyway.
Nice.
You
Penny,
know-
we love you. Thank you for calling in.
I'd like to really briefly let you guys know what happened just a few nights ago. Right out here, I was sitting in my hot tub at like 1:20 in the morning, and I heard this explosion. And I actually went up. You saw the Western Town,
Right.
that when you come in, went up to the top deck and saw my neighbor actually on the next street, but I could see it like it was perfect. Just the house was ablaze, completely burned, totally down to the ground. So it took all night to put it out. The next morning, I went by there. They were sitting on the ground. They have like 50 goats and a few animals. Are like, we're not leaving. They lost everything they owned. They even had, and this was a former vet, 70-something years old, had even his money in the house in like a briefcase because of the fear of banks. It was quite a fireworks display. I think he probably had around 20 or 30,000 rounds of ammo in the place.
God.
But he's also on methadone and some other very hardcore for his pain. He lost everything, all his meds, the whole 9 yards. So that morning I made an announcement here on the radio, and within 3 minutes I had my mailbox was filled, 99 messages, and I thought, holy cow! I thought maybe somebody would bring some canned food by. Within 3 days, from help from the community here and talking about it on the air, and then of course Facebook and it as well, we've managed to get them into a new trailer home. Had it already delivered yesterday.
Delivered right onto their land?
Right, that's right.
That's amazing. Good for
got
you.
them all set up with food. Had them the first night. Some nice people brought out a tent and set it up. Some other people brought out mattresses. I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, for 3 days, the flow of people going by there dropping stuff off was just absolutely incredible.
The community outreach is unbelievable.
I just want to say thank you to everybody out there
Right.
that helped and assisted these folks. And they, when I first went by there, they said, you know what? We don't want
Too
anything.
proud.
We don't want any handouts. We've supported ourselves our whole life. I said, look, if my house burned down and me and my family were sitting out in the dirt, would you help us or no? They're like, of course we would. I'm like, well, then let's get real here. This is what a community's for. And sure as heck, they're in their new place right now. And it's a starter place. It's not.
Well, at least they're not in a tent.
But
right?
they've got a shower, and they've got a restroom, and they've got a stove to cook on, and a kitchen, and the whole 9 yards.
Right,
So
right.
The good thing is the community really came together
Right.
and took care of them, and this is why I just thought it was so.
I got to ask, was there a goat barbecue that night or the next morning?
There was no goat barbecue.
I know.
Well, we live in an amazing country with a lot of amazing people with amazing hearts.
And I was losing my faith in this county, and specifically Santan Valley, because there's a lot of drama out here, in this little town. And I'm thinking, oh God, I thank God I have acreage and
drama in the Santan.
That's right. And then something like this happens, and then you see what people are really all about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was a good thing for me personally, but to this vet, more than the goods and everything itself, it changed his perspective on the world. He had been tainted to the point where he pretty much was on guard by his door, ready to take anyone out. You know what I mean? That kind of a situation. So now it's amazing. He's a different person, and his wife. So
that's outstanding.
Thank you to everybody out there that donated and helped and came forward.
Well, it's 5:32. You're listening to In the Know with Tom Diller. This is KQCK Live out in beautiful Santan Valley. We're going to take a little break, and please support our sponsors because they help keep the show going. Thank you so much, Joe, and our guests. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051. Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your way.
Bocce Italian Bistro of Arizona is the best-kept secret this side of Italy, located in southeast Mesa between Hawes and Ellsworth Road on Germain. For authentic family-cooked Italian cuisine, come and savor delicious dishes made from the freshest ingredients. We promise to deliver a true Italian family dining experience. Open for lunch Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. with all new $3.95 lunch specials, including our world-famous meatball and sausage sandwiches. Or indulge in one of our Frank the Godfather special sandwiches today. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday open from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and experience true Italian perfection. Bocce's Italian Bistro. Visit the website bocceitalianbistro.com. That's BACCIITALIANBISTRO.com. Located at 8830 East Germain Road in Mesa. You deserve the best.
Are you experiencing computer problems? Is your computer running slow, bogged down with viruses and spyware? You need a reliable and knowledgeable, trustworthy computer service company. Contact Computers, Networks, and More, located in Santan Valley. Get your computer or laptop running in top condition by a certified technician with 20-plus years experience and beta tester from Microsoft. Computers, Networks, and More provides repairs and solutions to any computer-related issue, whether it's software, installation, troubleshooting, updates, or tune-ups. You can trust Computers, Networks, and More. Contact Jeff Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to schedule an appointment. We can have you up and running quickly, usually within 48 hours. Located in Santan Valley. Computers, Networks, and More. We're here for you. Contact Jeff at 480-729-8899. That's 480-729-8899.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ann Borg from Doc Talk Radio. Join me on KQCK Radio every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Arizona time for your medical information show pertaining to the clinical practice of medicine. This is not about healthcare reform, but rather about caring for your health and well-being. We will feature different guests and an array of health-related topics each week. Listen, chat, watch, interact. Be part of the show every Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Welcome back to In the Know with Tom Diller at KQCK Live in beautiful Santan Valley. Again, I'm Tom Diller. I'm the Senior Vice President of Guaranteed Title Agency. I don't say that too often, but I got to say it 3 times. Otherwise,
you need
they don't
to
pay
do
for my
that.
gas to get out here. You know,
Seriously, you really need to do that.
Pimp the title company, which I
pimp it
love
out.
to death. We've been around for 35 years, so and it's another small business that's been out here forever. We're in Arizona, and we kind of keep all our money here. All the owners are here. And I bring that up because we are the host and sponsor of the event that's coming up this Thursday, September 20th. I came up with a catchy title that's kind of stupid, Mix, Meet, and Mingle. No, it's Mix, Mingle, and Meet, so I even got my own title wrong. But it's a small business. Arizona Academy Real Estate is opening a new campus in Mesa, right on the corner of Southern and Val Vista by that little Safeway right there. So Mesa Chamber will be there, so if anybody's from the Chamber's listening, we look forward to seeing you. They're doing a little ribbon cutting at 4:30. The party's from 5 to 8. A lot of business owners, so if you're out there looking to meet professionals that are movers and shakers, come on out and say hi. And I got to say again, we have Jordy out there. I just love that gal to death. She's just kind of cool, and she'll be out there singing all night for us. So, again, welcome back. We have Charles Anderson from A Better Today Recovery Services and Nick Jones from Old Pueblo Community Services. And I wanted to jump back over here, Nick, talk to you about the houses again. You talked about you have a couple bankers on staff. How large is that program for you? So you have somebody that goes through, that you take care of their credit, you take care of them. How many homes are you getting folks into weekly, monthly? Is this a major part of your business that you do, or just a small chunk of
It's about 1/3 of the business of Old Pueblo Community Services. 1/3 is serving the offenders, serving the veterans.
When you say the offenders, are the folks that are coming right out of prison,
Right,
you take care of to get them back into the
Correct.
community?
And, we get some of those in houses too, and the veterans too. But the Housing Development Department, basically, what we try to do is we try, especially right now with a lot of foreclosures going on, a lot of people need help. And they don't know what to do. And there's about 3-4 agencies in Tucson that do this, so it's not really well known.
Sure.
But people need help. People are losing their houses. I can't think of a worse thing that could happen to anybody.
Neither can I. And those that may need help that are listening, let me throw out the phone number one more time, 480-745-1033. Again, 480-745-1033. If you need help, you've got a question, you want to know a little more about the services, please do call in. Or if you have a neighbor or friend or loved one that's out there, give us a call. So 1/3 of your business, and you get them in these homes. It seems like they're probably they're going to be on your Christmas list, or they're on your Christmas list, and they're going to remember you guys forever and ever. Is there a statistic of them falling out of that and back on the streets and losing their home? Is that something that's tracked?
Absolutely, it's tracked. In 7 years, we've had one person lose their home, and that was because they moved to North Carolina. When they moved to North Carolina, when you get a home under the conditions of this program, you have to live in it. Obviously,
sure. It's got to be your owner occupied, right?
So we had one person that left, and we have one person right now who bought a home from us 4 years ago who's having trouble. And so we're putting them right back into our foreclosure assistance.
So you jump into a loan mod right away or something like that and take care of them?
Right away.
Good for you. Yeah. You getting principal reductions or anything like that out there? Or is...
Oh, yeah, there's, banks are wheeling and dealing right now. It's going to change here pretty soon.
Now, more so because they're veterans that you're helping at this point? And I got to say one more thing, because we were talking about this on break, that you help more than just veterans. So anybody that's in need,
correct.
You'll help. So I just wanted to make sure everybody out there knew that. So before we jump into that further, Joe got another call, and he's looking at me like, what's to jump in there?
Kathy from Holbrook called. She says, we are losing our house, but worst off, the electric company turned us off 2 weeks ago. Have 4 kids. Who do we call?
I would call somebody from NARBA up there in Flagstaff.
And NARBA stands for?
Northern Arizona Regional Behavioral Health. They could steer them to the people up there that do that kind of work.
So they're kind of looking for a HUD counselor up there, possibly.
Exactly.
And HUD counselors, just for those that don't know, that's a free service.
Free service.
It's absolutely free service. So if anybody asks for money for that kind of service, just hang up the phone and Google, get Nick's number or just Google HUD counseling, because it is 100% free.
Yeah. Actually, you can go on the HUD website, HUD.gov, and you can actually click on every state in the union and you get right down to all the people that do this kind of work.
Right.
So being they have no electric, you could probably go down to a library if there's one in Holbrook and find that information out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or a phone book. Or
Right.
Well, what's happening, there are people out there that do utility assistance, and what the sad thing about right now in our country is we have a middle class that basically, we have a whole class of people that have moved down. So we have people that have never needed services before, and they do not know where to go. And
they're afraid to ask, too.
They're afraid to ask.
Yeah, there's no shame in that. If you're having problems like that, make the phone calls. Google it. I mean, gosh, yeah. Joe just said go to the library and Google it. There's a lot of assistance out there. The utility services, the HUD counseling for free. I mean, there's plenty of places to go. Don't bury your head in the sand and do nothing. But the call-in is awesome. That's kind of the first step. Call in and get the answers.
And you have a lot of people now that are going to the community food bank that have never went before. There are people going to secondhand stores rather than going to the malls. We're seeing a whole shift. And it's Google.
Yeah.
Google everything.
Save your life.
Hey, Tom. Somebody wanted to let you know out there that there appears to be a bald spot starting on the back of your head.
Oh my! That's really thank you. I'm going to cry myself to sleep tonight.
We need to get some of that spray. Spray paint.
I used to get fan mail. I had young ladies from Sedona calling me all the time. Cougars from Scottsdale. Now I got somebody calling about my bald spot in the back. I think it's the way my hair is parted right now. It's the HD lights.
I'm pretty sure she's a midget wrestler, so I'll get her phone number for you. And we'll.
That's one of my fantasies. Actually, is a midget wrestler. Did I ever tell you that?
I think you did. Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever. We'll talk about it later. Where were we? Joe is such the instigator, I swear. Charles, okay, so you came from California. You had a business just like this out there, and you decided to move to Arizona. More of a need out here in Arizona, or you just wanted to come for 108-degree heat?
It was a huge need out here in Arizona. There's just not many of us out here that are doing treatment, especially an affordable treatment. Arizona has some of the highest-end treatment centers in the world. But when you get into that middle area, the middle class of who's helping treat those people, there was not many people out here doing it. So there was a huge need for it. We opened up in 2010 for treatment. We opened for the structured living in 2009. And, we've done nothing but grow.
Now, how do people find you? Insurance companies referring you? Do they have to give 3 names out?
We get insurance. We get referrals from the internet. If you go online and you look us up and stuff, you'll find us. But if you look for drug and alcohol treatment, you'll also locate us.
Right.
We do a lot of word-of-mouth stuff. We get referrals. a little bit of everything. It's just trying to get the word out. What's interesting about alcohol and drug addiction is there's almost nobody. There's only 1 degree of separation with that. I mean, there's almost no separation. Everybody knows somebody who has an issue.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. And the problem with it is we're getting past that stigmatism of, oh, my God, you know, my son's an addict and I don't want to tell anybody. And what's interesting is when I share with people what I do for a living, I can't tell you how often somebody says, oh, my God, my brother, oh, my son.
Right,
It's nonstop. It's like you'll sit down and you're talking to somebody and they'll say, oh, my God, it's like a God thing or something. You talk to me because my son is addicted to heroin.
Right.
I don't know what to do. But I don't want to ask either. You know what I mean? It's like Nick says with housing. I mean, it's no different. It's a ugly disease is what they look at it. You know, it's a disease, but they look at it as a nasty, you know, nobody wants to talk about it.
Right, let's talk about the nasty part of it. We talked about HIPAA laws a second ago, just a little bit. Most people kind of understand what that is. I guess, I don't know if it's the reverse of HIPAA, but something that's kind of like in the same line. Somebody's abusing illegal narcotics or what have you.
Right.
Is there a responsibility to say, hey, we just checked on a guy that ripped off CVS last week for all their OxyContin? Where's the line? Is there a line, or is it just about fixing or helping this person get back, you know, off the medication so he can live a normal life or whatever normal is today? How does that work? I don't get that because I've never. We talked about the 1 degree of separation. I don't really know anybody that's been in something like that or a situation like that. What do you do for the folks that come in and you know crimes may have just been committed or they committed crimes to get to where they're at today?
Well, I mean, we're not a police department. We're not here to throw you in jail and stuff. And it's like drunk driving. Do you know anybody who drinks who never drove?
Sure. Well, that's a perfect point.
So, I mean, it's like, you know, a lot of people, it takes what it takes to get them there.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not here, you know, they have to deal with their past themselves. You know, we're here to give them a future.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing.
Sure.
You know, is to give these people a future. The reason why you may not know anybody like that is because it is a dirty secret. You do know people. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
Trust me, you do. Right. You just don't know it. Especially if you worked in the real estate.
Yeah.
I know, trust me.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's one of these things, the more we can be open about it, the better it's going to be for everybody. And the beautiful thing is recovery has started to come out. You know, it's kind of become a little bit hip there for a while to be in recovery, you know, and it was cool because you're in recovery and they can understand
taking care of your issue, right?
And taking care of your stuff and moving forward, you know, and that's it's a huge epidemic thing. They say that 16 million Americans need treatment a year.
Every year, 16 million.
I mean, it's an astronomical. It's like 4,000. I don't know the number.
It's like one in every. Somebody on your cul-de-sac is going through this right now.
It's funny because you keep talking about oxycodone, and I heard a statistic a long time ago that said that 1 out of every 8 oxys are actually used as prescribed.
Only 1 out of 8. The other 7 are just
sold for recreational use.
Right. That stuff's not cheap, is it? That's a couple bucks.
Well, that's why the heroin's taken off so well.
Right.
You know,
you talked about getting in treatment. How long does a typical treatment last, or is there a typical treatment? I mean, you say if somebody walks in with an oxy issue or heroin or meth or whatever, is there like a plan for? I'm sure there is. I'm sure you have a plan, but what's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a year?
With us, we try to really keep people for about 90 days. What we've seen in statistically,
no matter what the.
Well, it depends. I mean, some people are 28 days. You know, the reality is life goes on. People have mortgages they have to pay. They have to work.
Sure.
There's only so much time. Some people, you know, it's such a secret, they may take 2 weeks off of work and try to come in and deal with their addiction. You know, who are, you know, quote unquote working addicts.
Right.
You know, they're functioning addicts and stuff. So with those people, we try to accommodate them the best we can. What we do know is it's a disease, so it's a lifelong recovery.
Right.
You know, so it's a big process. With most people, the longer they stay in recovery, the higher the outcomes.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're spending $50,000 a month or $5,000 a month. If you stay in a place 6 months, either cost, your outcomes are the same.
Developing new habits, yeah. So we had the little old lady on the Schwinn bike ring her bell again.
Yep. Should I change that, man? Should I change that to something?
That's what reminds me of a little lady with a little basket and a little bread.
We'll try to get to something a little more pleasing to your ear there. But we need to get back to this last topic, and then we're going to bring you back to Rodney and Tempe. Stevie wants you to know, and that's Stevie with an IE. Stevie says, I think Tom's hot.
sweet.
And then Patricia from Long Island,
Is
New
that
York.
Stevie Nicks?
I think it probably is.
Yeah,
think it
I
probably
love
is.
Stevie Nicks. So Stevie,
And then-
thank you for calling, and I'm glad you appreciate my hair and everything about me because
And then,
you know, it's
right, and just didn't want to make you feel bad from that last
Yeah,
bald spot thing.
yeah.
But Patricia out of Long Island, New York says, "Would you please do a shout out to me, Tom? I watch your show every week, and you're my screensaver. I'm 31 and single."
Patricia, I love you. Shout out to you. Thank you for listening. Call me up later, and I'll send you more pictures.
All right. And now we've got Rodney from Tempe. Let me see if I can read my own writing here. Rodney is been in and out of jail, back on opiates, and he does not want to go back to jail. With the HEPA laws and what you guys have in place, if Rodney comes and checks himself in or however he does that with your program, does his PO, whatever that is,
That's a great question.
Does he have to
That's the
know?
line I was talking about.
Well,
The
it's-
folks that are like, yeah,
I
great
gotta-
question.
I got to tell you, the probation officers, parole officers, they work in this field. Their job is to get you off.
So they'd be
probation,
proud of
parole.
you for going.
And trust me, this is like an addiction thing. Unfortunately, they're not going to run out of business. Okay,
Right.
they have caseloads that don't get smaller; they get bigger and bigger and bigger. When they get cut, when funding gets cut, they get cut first. So their caseloads get bigger and bigger. So the thing is I've never worked with a probation officer that says, "Oh, you're going to treatment to deal with your addiction."
Yeah,
no,
you're back in
I'm
the
gonna put
slammer.
you back in
Yeah,
jail.
yeah.
I've
That
never
makes
dealt
sense.
with that.
That does.
So, Rodney, you need to give Charles a call and throw out your phone number one more time. So,
It's,
yeah, that's the whole line I was talking about a minute ago because the folks that are scared of going in, don't be scared. There's no
Right.
reason to be scared.
And
Just
this is
make the
definitely-
phone call and take care of it. And start your new
Definitely
life.
the first step to getting a full recovery and getting back in a normal life
Absolutely.
is making that call,
Right.
taking the first step. Otherwise,
Right.
you're going to sit and do the same thing.
Yeah.
As, I've been working with probation and parole officers for years, and they appreciate honesty. They got in the business to help people. They're not into writing warrants. If you were to tell your PO that you have a problem, you go right up to them and tell them, "I got an issue. I need some help." They're not going to violate you.
Right.
Guaranteed.
It's true.
I hate to make that guarantee, but the reality they appreciate people that are honest.
Yeah.
It's a
They probably
guarantee-
wish they all were
guarantee,
like
not
that,
writing.
right?
What's
Yeah.
funny is your probation officer probably thinks you're on drugs anyways. So I mean,
So
they really do.
get
I
into
mean,
rehab.
That's the
Yeah.
funny thing. I
Yeah.
mean,
Wow.
they know they've been dealing with this thing
Right.
most of the time. They
Right.
can see the behaviors. They watch them. I've
Right.
dealt with drug courts in California, and in drug court, you used to have to show up in front of the judge every day. And if you started looking disheveled, they'd throw you in jail.
Drug court?
Oh yeah, they used to have drug. They have it out here too, I think.
Oh yeah.
But drug courts where instead of having a caseworker, you had a judge. And the difference with the judge was that the judge could put you in jail right now. Not like, okay, we're going to violate you. We'll come get you in 2 weeks. No, the judge says, you're looking disheveled today, Tom. You're going to jail for 3 days.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
that's a
And
shame.
and
That's kind of
But
Their
the
success
advantage
is really good.
But the advantage of drug court is the people that not a lot of people get the opportunity to go to drug court. For those that do go to drug court and do well, their cases are dropped,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like
Does this
You're
still
done.
exist? Drug court?
oh, absolutely, everywhere.
Yeah.
Have
It's
you heard of
interesting
drug
'cause
court?
it's-
Tom?
Success
I
is
have
very good.
not. Yeah, I have not. Charles, your phone number again?
It's 1-800-805-6119.
24/7.
24/7. Give us a call.
Anytime, give you a call, and somebody picks up the phone and takes care of you.
We tried to, yes.
Outstanding. Website, too, for those that may be online right now.
It's www.abtrs.com.
Outstanding.
My voice here.
No worries. Why don't you throw out your contact one more time there?
Our phone number in Tucson is 520-546-0122. Our website is www.helptucson.org. That's HELPTUCSON.org.
Well, we've had the calls lining up, call after call, and a couple on top of each other here. We only have about 6 minutes. What a fantastic show, and I'm so glad that I had you guys on here because you guys are just, both of you are doing a tremendous service. Anything that deals with military or anybody that needs help, again, regardless if they're military or not, to help somebody like that or to dedicate your life to do what you're doing is tremendous. So I got to applaud you guys for doing that. So thank you again for being here and for doing that. So we have a couple minutes. I'm going to throw it back to each one of you and the 3 key points, 3 things you want everybody to know about you or your business. Please feel free to just tell us what you want to tell us. And in fact, before you start that, let's take this one last call here and see what Joe got from the caller there.
The last woman just kind of yelled into the phone and said, love the show, let Tom know. So I didn't even have to write that down. But, so there you go.
Thank
Tom.
you.
Get your fan club. We're going to have to put a fan page up for you.
I got to read all my fan mail tonight, too, before I leave. So.
Got a very good question here from Sissy out of Albuquerque, who says, I'm definitely willing to come down and get checked in right away. But what I need to know is, I've tried this before, and the last time I tried it, it was like a boot camp. I wasn't allowed to make any outgoing calls. I wasn't allowed to communicate with my daughter, with her young daughter, with her family, and she needs that support as well if she's going to be in a setting to go through a 90-day program. Is this something that, how does it work with you guys?
Sure. With our program, we are a structured program. The first 7 days is a blackout period, so they're not allowed to use the phone for the first 7 days. After that, they're allowed to use the phone every day. You know, we're a program that understands that the best support you can have is your family. You know what I mean? Your family has to recover with you. You know, and that's the biggest thing. If you go off to treatment and they don't change, when you come back, nothing's different with them. And it's tough. It's a very big issue that we deal with husbands and wives and parents. You know, my favorite line to tell a mom is, you know, your son's not going to change until you change. You know, until you quit giving them money and stuff like this. It's very difficult for them.
So is the family part of the counseling after the blackout period? They're invited to come in, and hopefully they do come in, and they're part of it.
Yes, we have family groups every Saturday.
Uh-huh.
We're actually in the development right now of a family program that's really going to encompass them even more. Because for us, it's the recovery process. It's all family based.
Right.
You know, if your loved one's addicted to alcohol and they've been drinking for 5 years, well, you have some pretty bad behaviors to allow that to go on in a relationship.
Right.
So you got to change also. This is everybody changing together.
Right.
So that's what we really try to focus on.
Okay.
And no, we definitely want you to have those communications with your family. You know, as long as they're healthy. You know, we don't want you calling up your daughter and screaming.
Right,
so,
right.
As long as it's pretty healthy, we're there to help.
Couple of key points. I know one that I'm going to throw out is that it's very confidential, very private. So that's for everybody to hear. So anything else that you want them to go with?
Our biggest thing is that we do very high-end treatment at a very affordable cost, and we take almost every private insurance out there. You know, we really try to work with people, getting them in. We've even do payment plans. You know, in certain situations, we do payment plans. You know, our goal is to get people in and help change their lives.
Right.
You know, we're not a machine. We really do try to care.
Excellent. Okay, Charles Anderson, a Better Today Recovery Services. Nick, you want to throw out a last couple of?
Yeah, just one of the things that I found out is, you know, being in Tucson, Arizona, and Phoenix being the biggest city. You get a lot of people that don't want to come to Tucson, and I encourage them. People that want to recover, sometimes they're better off getting out of the neighborhood they grew up in.
I would think so, yeah.
Because, first of all, it's not easy to run back to the neighborhood.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, Phoenix people that have come to Tucson, I've had Tucson people that had a lot of trouble in Tucson. I'll suggest them some good programs in Phoenix. Get out of Tucson if this is your trigger. Get out of Phoenix if this is your trigger. Get out of whatever town you're in. This is your trigger.
Right.
And try and develop a program, you know, a foundation of recovery that allows you, when you're done with treatment, to go back home and have a chance.
Right. How many folks can you take in at one time? I don't know if I asked that question earlier, but can you?
I house 300 people on any given day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a hospital.
It's amazing places, different locations. It's amazing.
This is a big facility, huh? Yeah. Oh, different locations.
Multiple locations.
Gotcha.
It's amazing places, I got to tell you.
Right.
They're
Nick
beautiful.
Jones, co-founder and CEO of Old Pueblo Community Services. You guys, thank you guys for coming out here. I know it's not easy to find this place out here.
Yeah. It's been a real pleasure having you guys on. It's been.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad that some people reached out, and I know people are going to definitely benefit from this program today.
We're going to have their phone numbers up after we get off air here, so people can call in if they need to, and give them a call and contact them.
Absolutely.
So it'll be up on your Facebook, up on the KQC website or whatever. But thank you so much for joining us. And this is Tom Diller, In the Know with Tom Diller, KQCK live out in Santam Valley. And you said there was an outro. So tell me, what the heck is an outro? Let me see what it sounds like. See if do I get to approve it or anything, or is it just cool?
You get to approve it.
It's going to be cool. I know it's going to be cool. But
you get to approve it right now.
Thanks for joining us today on In the Know with Tom Diller. We will always continue to strive to bring you the best in guests and to keep you informed on every facet of Arizona's volatile real estate market. Remember to tune in each and every week at 5 p.m. Arizona time exclusively on KQCK radio station. When it comes to real estate and more, be in the know.